Mr. Harper, you say you are in financial shambles because you've been stuck paying support for a child you know is not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you claim previous courts have denied your request for DNA testing because you allegedly signed an acknowledgement of paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
You now claim to have evidence to prove you never signed that document.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Harper, you and your son, Mac Jr., claim Mr. Harper is denying paternity as an excuse for being a deadbeat father.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Harper Sr., explain to me, how have you been affected by all of this?
Your Honor, I have been affected by this by first ending up in jail for 21 days.
Really? You spent 21 days in jail because of failure to pay support, or you gotten behind?
Yes, I had gotten behind in my child support. The police came to my house one day, knocked on my door, and told me that I was behind in child support. At that time, I didn't even know I was supposed to be paying child support.
You never received a letter?
I never received a letter.
A notice?
Nothing, Your Honor. They came, locked me up. I went to court. They asked me if I could pay the money what I needed for court at that time, what they were saying that I was behind in.
How much did they say you were behind?
At that time, I think I might have been like $500 behind.
All right.
In child support. And from then on, I was just working, trying to make enough money not to get locked up again.
He just told a story because when they sent me a letter, they told me he was $25,000 behind.
So you're saying you've gotten a letter that says now he's upwards of $25,000 behind in support?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's either $23,000 or $25,000, somewhere like that.
But Mr. Harper, I was going to say, you submitted paperwork to the court that indicated that you are, in fact, now almost $24,000 behind now. And that's the current amount that you owe.
Yes, Your Honor.
But when you were telling the story about going to jail, at that time, you were only about $500
yes, Your Honor.
behind.
Yes, Your Honor.
And now you've still been paying this child support, being responsible for it, even though you have a substantial amount of arrears.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you don't believe Mac Jr. is your child?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
Tell me about your doubt.
I have doubts that Junior is mine, all because of the fact that back when me and his mother worked, Miss Myrtle worked together, I have family and friends that told me that she had been messing around with other men behind my back. Whenever I would go to work.
Your Honor, that's not true. That's not true.
I even got proof that says that someone texted me and said, or called me and said that she might even have messed with one of my family members.
So you heard rumors that she was sleeping with other people?
Yes, Your Honor.
When I read in the court papers, there was an acknowledgement of paternity signed.
It was never...
You say you didn't sign that.
No, Your Honor. Whenever I got out there to the hospital, after she had him, because she had him at home.
You had Mac Jr. at home, Ms. Harper?
Yes, Your Honor, but Mr. Sr. came to the hospital, took pictures. The nurse brought the
I came to the hospital, took pictures. I did not never see no
And did you witness it?
I witnessed.
You saw him sign that yourself?
I did not sign no birth certificate. I never
You did sign the birth certificate. Why you standing up there lying like I don't know what?
Whenever I came into the room, there was not no birth certificate in there.
Mr. Harper, Ms. Harper, now that birth certificate was submitted to the court. I want to take a look at it. Certificate of live birth. Name, Mac Clinton Harper, that's the child, and name of the father is Mac Clinton Harper. Now, you did not sign this birth certificate.
I did not sign that birth certificate. That birth certificate was already, because when I got there...
But you do admit you came up to the hospital to see the baby after it was born.
I came there to the hospital to pick them up when they got ready to leave the hospital, because by being a home birth, when she got to the hospital, they checked the baby out. She called me like about 11 o'clock and was like, they're ready for us to come home. And so I was like, okay, I'll be over there after a while because I know I got to sign the birth certificate. By the time I got over there to the hospital, that's when she told me, oh, they had to go ahead and take the birth certificate because of the fact that they had to go ahead and get the paperwork done before you got here so we could just leave.
So wait, you came up there with the intention of signing the birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, but you say that you did not in fact sign it?
No, sir. No, ma'am. I never did sign a birth certificate. She went ahead and signed it because we were still legal, because we were legally married.
So the bottom line is there was a presumption anyway. If the child was born within the marriage, there's a presumption you're the father anyway. Mm-hmm. And you would have been liable for child support.
But I never signed the birth certificate, Your Honor.
Miss Harper, you remember this day?
I definitely do.
I definitely don't.
How sure would you know? Because you busy getting drunk all the time.
If I was drunk, then I wouldn't have came over there to the hospital to see you or no
Flashing,
baby.
what is wrong with you?
There's nothing wrong with me.
Yes, it is. You need some help. You banded me and my child. What's wrong with
Abandoned
you?
you and your child.
That's right.
You stopped me from coming to see my child.
Don't go there.
We was married.
All right.
Don't
Family, let's calm down a little bit.
You say so.
Mac Jr.,
Yes.
what would you like to add, young man?
She'd offered him to come see me, and he used to come pick me up when he was driving the cab. He used to come pick me up every weekend, and then all of a sudden he just stopped.
I stopped coming to get you, Junior, because of the fact that your mama and her boyfriend told me to stop coming to their house.
You remember having a relationship. He'd come get you, take you with him.
Yeah. Gave him a birthday party.
How old were you then?
About 7 to 11. Since 2005, out of 10 years, I've only seen him 3 years.
I hadn't seen him in so many years because she wouldn't allow me to. They moved out of town. They moved out of the town where I lived at. They moved so far away, I would have to catch a Greyhound to get there.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Because I'm physically...
Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Because I don't have the money to get there with.
Yeah.
Because child support is taking all my money.
Is this about the money you feel like you do not owe? Or is this about the fact that you truly have doubts as to whether or not this young man is your biological child?
I have doubts that he is my biological child. I mean, as far as the child support money, if I find out that he is my biological child, I don't mind paying it. I've been paying it all this long anyway.
Why is it you didn't do more to make contact? He says he's seen you 3 times.
In 10 years.
I mean, that is in 10 years?
Well, I don't have a car to get around with because of the child support. It's taking everything I got.
You got a cell
You got a
phone.
cell phone.
I talk to him. He won't talk to me.
I used to try to talk to him every day. I used to call my sister every day or every other day trying to get in touch with him.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you wanted a relationship with him. You wanted to know him.
Yeah, at the time I actually wanted him in my life.
You did. Because you felt that void? That's all right, babe. Take your time.
Yes, and it bothered me a lot. The way I look at it, every child deserves to have their father in their life.
You do.
And I used to go out, look in neighbors' yards, see them, their father out there playing basketball, out there playing whatever sport or whatever, spending time with their son. And then I think about my father, which don't even try to get in contact with
What?
me.
I tried to call you.
When did you try to call me?
I talked to you yesterday, didn't I? I've talked to you on Facebook. I've even tried to call you. I left
didn't talk to
messages
me
on
on
your
Facebook.
phone.
You talked to her.
I left messages on the phone.
And who called you on Father's Day?
So, Mr. Harper, I gotta ask you, I mean, I'm looking at this handsome young man,
I don't
telling
see,
his story all his life, walking down the street and looking in yards and seeing fathers out there playing basketball with their sons. And even if you felt like you couldn't come to their house without it being an altercation, couldn't you say, look, Miss Harper, or look, Mac, meet me down the street at the store on blah, blah street. I'll pick you up, or either from there, we'll walk to the park, we'll go, whatever, go to lunch, we'll just take a walk. What was preventing you? Was it your doubt? Was it that you didn't believe this was your child, truly?
Yes, Your Honor.
What in the world?
But then she was messing around with other people.
Now that's what I want to get to.
One day, I had got off work, and as I'm walking down the street, I see them up on the porch. And I all of a sudden hauls off and see her kiss him. So when I walked up on the porch, I'm like, what are you doing like that? She's telling me, oh, we just playing around, it wasn't nothing. And I'm like, but Myrtle, you're my wife, like that. Why are you out here kissing this other man? And so then the guy, he gets up and he's like, oh, it wasn't nothing, it was just a thing. And he was like, well, it's gonna be like that, I'll just walk away, I'll walk away. I'm like, yeah, you need to before you get thrown away.
Was this during the window of time that you believe Mac Jr. was conceived?
Yes, because this was the person that she was messing around with. She's even been, my daughter will tell you, what happened with that situation, where she seen her at her sister's.
Miss Harper, were you sleeping with anybody else during the time?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Harper, you say your daughter from a previous relationship,
Yes.
your biological daughter,
Yes.
is here, is going to join us in the courtroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Via Skype, because she could not be here today in court.
Yes, because she just had a baby.
But she has testimony to offer that would further your claim.
Yes.
Miss Harper,
Hi.
hello, thank you for joining us today. Congratulations on the new baby.
Thank you.
We appreciate you still making your court appearance, even if it is via Skype. I see you're very emotional, ma'am. Please tell me, what are you feeling? Do you believe Mac Jr. is your brother?
In a way, I don't.
In a way you don't?
No.
Please tell the court why.
I've witnessed her flirting around and engaging in all different types of sexual contact with other men.
Specifically, what happened? What did you witness?
Well, for one, I was about between the ages of 11 and 12. I was with her at her sister's house, and I remember the night before there were a bunch of men at that apartment, and I remember going to bed that night, and I woke up the next morning, and I heard a man's voice in that room along with hers. And I went to sit up on the bed and I leaned over. I couldn't see who the person was, but I heard their voice. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like my dad's voice.
So what you believe you heard was Miss Harper either in the bed or in the bedroom at least with a man that was not your father.
Correct.
Miss Harper, do you remember this incident?
No, Your Honor. I sure don't.
Did you ever cheat on him, ever?
Yes.
What I want to cheat on my own husband for, and he the one cheated on me with 3 daggone different women.
Oh, I need you to answer the question, though. Did you ever cheat on him?
No, Your Honor. I've been faithful to my husband.
Karen, I see tears streaming down your face. Why does this make you so emotional?
I don't really have a relationship with Mac Jr. the way I would like to. I've noticed that it's affected my dad in so many ways, financially, emotionally. And, as a child, I shouldn't have to witness, seeing another man kissing on you or touching you in inappropriate ways, knowing that you're married to my father. That is just dead wrong.
And Miss Harper, you say these things never happen.
No, Your Honor, it never happened.
So
I don't know where they getting these lies from, but it never happened.
Mac Jr., do you feel like your father, the man you believe to be your father, has any right to doubt you?
I really don't, because if you look at him, me and him look just alike. I might as well not be his child because he never done nothing for me. It took another man to step in his spot to take care of me and raise me up as a man.
Well, Mr. Senior?
That don't have nothing to do with this case.
Okay.
Okay.
No, it actually does. He's saying that he's never seen you try to get to him, and that bothers him. And I think it's a question worthy of an answer or an explanation.
It was just hard on me financially, Your Honor. It was hard on me financially.
Your financial situation, I get.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it was these issues coupled with your doubt that kept you from this young man. And he needs to understand what that is, because he's standing here in court saying, I don't know why you didn't make the effort to see me.
Okay.
When I hear about somebody being a junior, I think about who's the senior. You're named after somebody. Am I the only person in here that gets this? That's another layer of confusion, feeling neglected. He's carrying your name. Do you get that?
Yes, Your Honor.
The only way we're going to be able to move forward is to just get the results. I'm ready. Jerome? Thank you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Harper Sr. versus Harper Jr., when it comes to 20-year-old Mac Harper Jr. It has been determined by this court, Mr. Harper Sr.,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are his father.
All right.
Now, will you please step up and be a dad to your son?
Yes, I will, if he'll allow me to. If he'll allow me to, I'll be there for him.
You now have confirmed that he's in fact your biological father. And the things you felt all of these years have been validated. And you deserve an opportunity to tell him that directly. Tell him.
It took 20 years for you to try to figure out that you was my dad. Where was you at when I needed you the most?
Mr. Harper?
If you allow me, I'll try to be in your life. If not, then I'll just try to keep in contact with you the best way I can, okay?
Ms. Walker, you have petitioned the court for a DNA test and want to prove that the defendant is the father of your 13-month-old son, Bentley. You admit that there was another man, but hope Mr. Conn is Bentley's dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Conn, you have been in an on-again, off-again relationship with Ms. Walker and say you desperately hope Bentley is your son, but have substantial reason to doubt that you are the biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Walker, why is it so important to prove that Mr. Conn is Bentley's biological father?
It's important to me because I want the best for my son. He deserves the right to know. I feel that Jerry is the best choice.
So you are admitting that there are other possibilities?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Conn has developed a relationship with your son?
Yes, they have a very good bond. They're so good together. It makes me so happy to see them together, and Jerry deserves this more than anything.
And Mr. Conn, I can see the tears in your eyes as you look at Bentley. I can see.
I'm just the last person to carry on my name, and I would really like to find out if it's mine so I can tell my grandma if she has a grandson or not.
And you really love this baby.
Yes,
you do.
ma'am. I love him with all my heart. I'm just hoping he's mine.
Ms. Walker, I want to get into this because I want to understand how we got here. What was the nature of your relationship with Mr. Conn? Are you all in a committed relationship? What kind of relationship is this?
We were in a committed relationship for 6 years. We had our problems, and we wound up parting ways for 3 years. And another guy came into the picture. I found out that he was unfaithful to me. And Jerry, he's always been there for me. He's always been my rock. And I called him, and I went back to him. That was the day that we got together for the first time since we split up.
Mr. Conn, what is it about Ms. Walker you love?
I've loved her since day one. We were working together, and I've just been with her since then.
I can see that means something to you to hear that. It makes you emotional?
Yes.
Because you know he loves you very much.
Yes, Your Honor. I hate that we split ways. He was my soulmate.
And so there's a lot riding on today's results.
Yes, Your Honor.
Take me to the day you found out you were pregnant with Bentley.
I had had some morning sickness, and I had missed my cycle. So I took a test, and it came out positive. I didn't really have no worries then until later on, whenever I went to get a test done at a doctor. They gave me an ultrasound, and they told me what my conception date was, and that's when I started panicking.
All right, so who were you dating at this point? When you decide, I think I should take a pregnancy test, who were you with?
The other man.
The other man. You were with this other man,
Yes.
but you were also obviously sleeping with Mr. Conn because he wouldn't even be a possibility.
Correct. I found out the other man had been unfaithful, and then so I took off and I called Jerry, and he let me come stay with him. And that's when me and Mr. Conn hooked up.
So, Mr. Conn, do you remember that weekend?
Yes, I do, because my father was in the hospital. I was in a very emotional state of mind, and we hooked up, and then I found out my father passed and immediately went to his aid, or whenever I got back home, she wasn't there, so I just figured she went back to the other guy.
So you left again, Ms. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say this was the love of your life, your soulmate, the other guy had cheated on you. What happens? Why you leave?
I wish I could answer that question. I don't know. Part of me is drawn to the other man. I don't know what it is. I wish I knew.
So you run back to the other man. You find out you're pregnant when you go back.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who do you tell?
The other man.
And what was his response?
He was happy. At this point, he didn't know that I had been with Jerry.
You submitted a calendar to the court. I'd like to review that. So you go to the doctor on January 12th.
Yes, Your Honor.
They tell you you are 9 weeks pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
So they tell you your date of conception is November 17th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did they give you a window or did they just tell you this was the date?
That was the date.
They gave you a date of conception.
Yes, Your Honor.
Wow. So they could pinpoint it that much.
Yes.
And that made you nervous. You said you started panicking.
Yes.
Why?
Because I knew I'd been with both men on that date.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So as you look at November 17th, you admittedly had sex with Mr. Conn that morning,
Yes, Your Honor.
but had sex with the other man that evening.
Yes, Your Honor. It's not something I'm proud of.
Whoa. So at what point do you tell Mr. Conn, I'm pregnant? Because at this point, we know what happened on that date.
Whenever I went to the doctor, when I found out the conception date, I wasn't exactly sure what day his father had passed away. So I had called him to ask him, and that's whenever I told him.
And so throughout this pregnancy, were you involved, Mr. Conn? Did you go to hospital visits?
No, because me and the other man do not get along too well, and I didn't want to start any confrontation.
So wait a minute. You say you and the other man, so after you found out you were pregnant, Ms. Walker, you stayed with the other man?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was he at Bentley's birth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he sign the birth certificate?
Barely, but yes. He almost missed it.
Barely signed it. What's that mean?
He had left me at the hospital the day after I gave birth, and I didn't hear from him until the next day when I was being discharged.
But he did sign it.
Yes.
So this other man is the father, the legal father listed on Bentley's birth certificate.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you are here because you hope and believe Mr. Conn is the biological father.
Yes, Your Honor. When I look at Bentley, he reminds me so much of Jerry.
And I see you looking so intently at him, Mr. Conn, but you're still full of doubt.
I'm full of doubt because I don't have DNA results.
Exactly. Even though you weren't there for the birth and you didn't sign the birth certificate and the other man signed the birth certificate, you stepped up and been a father to Bentley all this time?
Whenever she needed me, I was there for her. Or whenever he needed me, I was there for him.
How does it go from the other guy signing the birth certificate to Mr. Conn stepping up to be the dad?
This whole time I've been with the other man. The other man has been involved, but me and him don't have a great relationship. And every time I leave him, Jerry's who I go to. Jerry's always been there for me.
Are you two hoping to make this relationship work?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
I feel like we're a family. I really do. These results will tell me where I need to go from here. Whether me and Jerry can build a relationship from this point on, or I don't know.
So are you just hoping the baby is Mr. Conn's?
Yes,
Or do you believe it? That's two different things.
I'm hoping, because that's what's best for my son.
Because you want what's best for your son.
Yes, there's been a couple times Jerry was diagnosed with scoliosis. He's had back surgery. There's been times where Bentley's been playing, and whenever the light hits his back, it almost looks like he might have it.
And so you think your son, Bentley, may potentially have scoliosis.
Yes, I've heard it might be hereditary.
Do you see some of those signs, Mr. Conn, when you look at Bentley?
Yes, I seen the slight curvature of the spine.
And so your question is, now, could this be my son? Because have I potentially passed this condition down to him?
Yes.
But Bentley has never been diagnosed.
No, Your Honor.
And I'd like to find out at an earlier point in time if he's mine. That way he doesn't have to go through back surgery like I did.
Well, I'm going to call on some medical help. I'd like to call in Dr. Samantha Brown Parks. Jerome, can you please escort the doctor in? I want to ask her some questions about scoliosis and whether it has anything to do with paternity.
Hello, Dr. Parks. I'll have you go up to the witness stand and watch your step.
Hello.
Hi, Your Honor.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Brown Parks. The court has heard testimony that baby Bentley looks like potentially has a curving in his spine. Mr. Conn says he does have scoliosis and it was passed down to him from his father. This court wants to know, is scoliosis genetic? Does it have a genetic component where we could potentially connect it to paternity in any way?
Okay, so let's back up just a little bit. Scoliosis is the sideways curvature of the spine, which is abnormal. It's the most common spinal malformation that happens in children. We start screening for this in children around second, third grade when they start doing sports. So at his age, it would be very difficult to diagnose.
Because he's just 13 months.
Because he's only 13 months. That being said, in twin studies, which is the best kind of study that we can get to look to see for inheritability of a disease, it shows us that 38% of those cases are inherited from a parent.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
That is huge.
That kind of lends itself to the potential that Mr. Conn could be Bentley's biological father, since he has the condition.
That's a distinct possibility.
And so, now that you've heard this testimony, Mr. Conn, before I go to the results, can you state to the court what your hopes are today?
I hope that Bentley is my son.
And what about the relationship with Miss Walker? Is the relationship on the line for you?
If she calls me, I'm there for her.
And so how does it make you feel to hear him express that level of unconditional love for you, Miss Walker?
It makes me feel great, but it makes me feel terrible at the same time. Because he deserves so much. He deserves to be loved back that way.
I want you to look at Mr. Conn and I want you to tell him what that love means for you.
It means so much to me that you are there for me like you are. You always have been, and I know you always will be. And I want this for you. I want Bentley to be yours because you deserve it. You deserve it more than anything in the world.
How does it feel to hear her say she wants Bentley to be your child?
I wouldn't have helped her out if she didn't care for me and feel like she wanted Bentley to be mine.
And if he isn't, have you prepared yourself?
I mean, I've been going through it for a year and a month now, so yeah.
I want to put that confusion to rest. It's time. Jerome, may I have the envelope, please? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Walker versus Conn, when it comes to 13-month-old Bentley, it has been determined by this court Mr. Conn, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. This is the way to go.
I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
I know that was not the result either of you wanted.
No, no.
You said, Ms. Walker, you testified that this result would point you in the direction where you felt you needed to go. What did that mean?
I have to let the other man be his father still, but I don't want to be with him. I would like to work it out with Jerry still.
Mr. Conn, how do you feel about that? Are you willing to continue to work on the relationship even though Bentley is not your biological child?
Yes, ma'am.
You are.